Back. We are now up to chapter 27 in the Gospel according to the Hebrews, and we'll just go ahead and get started with it. Now when morning has come, all the chief priests and the elders of the people were in the conclave against Yeshua to surely put him to death. They bound him, led him away, and delivered him up to Pontius Pilate, the governor. Then Judas Iscariot, when he saw that Yeshua was condemned, began to turn in repentance, and brought back the 30 pieces of silver to the high priests and elders, saying, I have sinned, in that I betrayed the blood of the righteous. But they said, What is that to us? You see to it. He threw the pieces of silver in the temple and departed. Then he took a rope and hanged himself. The chief priest retrieved the pieces of silver and said, It is not lawful to put these coins into the temple treasury, since it is the reward given for the blood of Yeshua. They took counsel and bought with them the field of a certain potter of clay to bury strangers in. Therefore that field has been called the field of blood to this day. Then that which was spoken through Zechariah the prophet was fulfilled, saying, I said to them, If it is good in your eyes, multiply my wages, but if not, forbear. So they weighed for my wages 30 pieces of silver. Then Yahweh said to me, Cast it to the potter. This is for the man who forms clay. And as the prophet Jeremiah said, and they took the 30 pieces of silver, a goodly price for him who was valued, whom they valued of the children of Israel. And they gave them for the potter's field, as Yahweh commanded me. Now Yeshua stood before Pilate, who asked him, saying, Are you the king of the Judeans? Yeshua said to him, So you say. When he was slandered and harassed by the chief priests and elders with regards to some word that they spoke against him, he answered nothing. Then Pilate said to him, Don't you hear how many things they testify against you? He gave him no answer, not even one word, so that Pilate marveled greatly. Now on the day of the honored feast of Passover, it is the custom of the governor of the city to release to the multitude one prisoner, whomever they desired. Pilate had a notable prisoner who was almost insane, called Yeshua, the son of the teacher, that is, Barabbas, taken in a case of murder and sedition. And he had placed him in the dungeon. When therefore they were gathered together, Pilate said to them, Whom do you want me to release to you? Yeshua Barabbas, or Yeshua who is called Messiah? For they knew that because of hatred without cause they had delivered him up. While he was sitting on the judgment seat, his wife sent to him a messenger, saying, I implore you that in no matter should you speak a word against this just man, for I have suffered many things today in a vision because of him. Now the chief priests and the elders persuaded the multitudes to ask for Barabbas, that Yeshua might die. But the governor answered and said to them, Which of the two do you want me to release to you? They said, Barabbas. Pilate said to them, What then shall I do to Yeshua, who's called Messiah? They all said to him, Let him be crucified. But the governor said, Why? What evil has he done? But they cried out exceedingly, saying, Let them hang him. Let them hang him. Let them hang him. So when Pilate saw that he had no power of resistance, and that nothing was being gained, but rather a disturbance was starting, he took water and washed his hand before the multitude, saying, I am innocent of the blood of this righteous man. Be careful what you do. All the people answered, His blood will be upon us and upon our seed. Then he released Barabbas to them, but he delivered Yeshua to them to be beaten, afflicted, and that they might hang him. For certain Judeans had bribed 4 soldiers that they might scourge the master hard enough to cause an outpouring of blood from every part of his body. And they also appropriated those same soldiers to crucify him. Therefore the soldiers took Yeshua to the praetorium and gathered before a great multitude of people. They stripped him and clothed him with silk garments and covered him with a green silk robe. They encircled his head with a crown of thorns and placed a reed in his right hand. And they knelt down before him and mocked him, saying, Shalom, peace be with you, King of the Judeans. They spat in his face and took the reed and struck him on the head. When they had mocked him, they took the robe off of him and put his own clothes on him and led him away to crucify him. And as they led him away, they seized one Simon of Cyrene, who was coming in from the country, and laid on him the cross to carry it behind Yeshua. And there followed him a great multitude of the people and of women who were mourning and lamenting for him. But turning to them, Yeshua said, Daughters of Jerusalem, do not weep for me, but weep for yourselves and for your children. For behold, the days are coming when they will say, Blessed are the barren, and the wombs that never bore, and the breasts that never nursed. Then they will begin to say to the mountains, Fall on us, and the hills cover us. For if they do these things when the wood is green, what will happen when it is dry? When they came to a place called Golgotha, that is to say, Mount of a Skull, they gave him wine mingled with opium to drink. When he began to drink and had tasted it, he perceived and would not drink. When they had nailed him to the gallows, they divided his clothing among them, casting lots, and they sat and watched him there. They set up over his head a writing which said, This is Yeshua of Nazareth, the King of Israel. Then there were two robbers crucified with him, one on his right hand and one on the left. Those who passed by were reviling him, wagging their heads and saying, See how you would destroy the temple of God and yet rebuild it in 3 days? Save yourself. If you are the Son of God, come down from the cross. Likewise, the chief priests, also mocking with the scribes, the Pharisees, and the elders, said, He saved others, but he can't save himself. If he is the King of Israel, let him come down from the tree, and we will believe him. He trusts in God, let God deliver him now. He delights in him, if he delights in him. If he delights in him, for he said, I am the Son of God. The robbers also who were crucified with him cast on him the same reproach with those very same words. And Yeshua prayed, Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they do. And because of this word, the master, many thousands of Judeans and some others who stood around the cross afterwards believed. Now from the 6th hour there was darkness over all the land until the 9th hour. About the 9th hour Yeshua cried with a mighty voice, saying in the holy language, Eli, Eli, lama sabachthani, that is, my God, why have you forsaken me? Some of them who stood there, when they heard it, said, This man is calling Elijah. Immediately one of them ran and took spongy bread, filled it with vinegar, and gave it to him to drink. The rest said, Let him be. Let's see whether Elijah comes to save him. Yeshua cried again with a loud voice and sent up his spirit to his Father. At once the massive lintel of the temple shattered and fell, and behold, the curtain of the temple was torn in two from the top to bottom. The earth quaked, and the rocks were rent. The tombs were opened, and many bodies of those who had fallen asleep in the dust were raised. And the coming out of the tombs after his resurrection, they entered into the holy city and were revealed to many. Now the centurion and those who were with him guarding Yeshua, when they saw the earthquake and the things that were done, were terrified, saying, Truly this was the Son of God. Many women were there watching from afar, who had served Yeshua from Galilee until that time. Among them were Miriam from Magdala, Miriam the mother of James and Joseph, and the mother of the sons of Zebedee. When evening had come, a rich man from Haramathaim, called Joseph, who himself was also a disciple of Yeshua, came. This man went to Pilate and asked for Yeshua's body. Then Pilate commanded the body to be given up. Joseph took the body and wrapped it in pure linen and laid it in his own new tomb, which he had freshly cut out of the rock. Then he rolled a large stone over the entrance of the tomb and departed. Miriam from Magdala was present, and the other Miriam sitting opposite the tomb. Now on the day after Passover, the chief priests and the Pharisees were gathered together to Pilate, saying, Sir, we remember what that deceiver said while he was still alive. After 3 days I will arise and come back to life. Command therefore that the tomb be made secure until the 3rd day, lest perhaps his disciples come at night and steal him away. And tell the people he is risen from the dead, and the last error will be worse than the first. Pilate said to them, You have a guard, go and make it secure as you can. And he gave them armed men to sit right in front of the cave and guard it day and night. So they went and completed the structure of the tomb by sealing the stone and made the sepulchre inaccessible by posting a guard there. Alright, so we'll come back and we'll finish up the final chapter next time.